Welcome back to Epic Encounters, your go-to place for unfiltered, deep dives into the latest in gaming. Today, we're tackling what may be the latest addition to the ever-growing pile of woke-infused games, with Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Buckle up, because this one isn't just a mild toe dip into social justice, it's a full-blown cannonball. Bioware has decided to implement top surgery scars into its character creator. And let me tell you, this is the epitome of how far things have gone off the rails.
Top surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans and non-binary rooks out there. I absolutely was blown away by this. It's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game and to see yourself represented in the game in this way is wonderful. So if you want your rook to sport the top surgery scars, you absolutely can.
Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This is a game that's been extremely hyped up. Everybody is super excited to see this game. Super excited. Really excited to see it.
It's been 10 long years since Dragon Age Inquisition, and the expectations for the next game in the series, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, seem impossible. A full decade, a bevy of behind-the-scenes changes, and an interesting start to its marketing campaign made me a little worried for my most highly anticipated game of the year.
This guy looks so fucking ugly and retarded. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea to make a character that looks this way? This is the dumbest looking character in the entire game. Like, why would you do this?
So, what's going on here? Bioware recently revealed the character creator for the Veilguard, and it's a little more extreme than what we initially thought. Sure, you expect things like gender options or body types to be included in a modern RPG, but this? You can now toggle top surgery scars. Yes, you heard that right. Scars from a very specific and controversial surgery, aimed at transitioning individuals. This game is supposed to be a fantasy, yet we're importing modern identity politics into it. There's a reason people are getting tired of this. The moment you start including top surgery scars in a fantasy world, it's no longer about the game. It's about sending a message. And that message is clear. Look how progressive we are. Inclusivity at its heart. The new tagline? One of the game's developers, Corinne Bush, who by the way is a man identifying as a woman, had the audacity to declare that the heart of the game is all about inclusivity. At this point, we've heard this line too many times, haven't we? Bush isn't shy about what the character creator is aiming for either. Pronouns like he, him, she, her, and they, them are separate from gender, so you can create whatever identity Frankenstein you want. Want a male body with a female voice? Sure. Non-binary? Absolutely. But hey, you can also mess around with the body types, making your character look however you want. That is, of course, unless you want a simple, traditional male or female character, because let's face it, that's no longer the default. This character creator gives you the option to choose to have top surgery scars, and even lets you adjust the size of your character's genitalia. Oh, and did I mention? There's full nudity in this game, because apparently, Bioware thinks choosing your underwear is a key part of your RPG experience. Honestly, it's absurd how we've gone from saving the world to deciding whether or not your elf warrior has scars from a medical procedure. Where's the fantasy? It's clear that this game is no longer about an epic, dragon-slaying, world-saving adventure. Instead, it's turning into a virtual platform for pushing agendas. In a world filled with elves, dwarves, and magic, we're suddenly concerned about making sure transgender representation is front and center, and the representation doesn't stop at the character creator. Bush and the team made sure that all companion characters are canonically pansexual. I'm not making this up. Every single companion you come across is sexually attracted to all genders. Now, I don't care who romances who in their personal lives, but when you start making every character pansexual just for the sake of checking off some diversity quota, it becomes ridiculous. It's not about creating a rich story anymore. It's about how many identities we can squeeze into this world. They even had the nerve to clarify that this isn't player sexual, where characters adapt to the player's gender, but pansexual, as if that distinction needed to be made. This kind of forced inclusivity is what has started driving people away from games that once had passionate fan bases. I mean, remember when Dragon Age was about, dragons? Let's not mince words here. This isn't just a feature in a video game. The inclusion of top surgery scars is an attempt to normalize a highly controversial and medicalized process. It's not about giving people options. It's about reinforcing a specific ideology. By placing this in a game that's meant to be an escape, a fantasy, they're telling you that these real-world, controversial issues are what you should be focusing on, even when you're playing a game set in a magical realm. Why force this? And that's the question, isn't it? Why does Bioware feel the need to inject real-world politics and ideologies into a fantasy setting? Why do they feel like they have to push this so hard? It's not like the game was ever about this in the first place. The older Dragon Age titles were dark, gritty, and focused on the complex dynamics of power, magic, and survival in a dangerous world. Now, we're supposed to care about whether our dwarf has gender dysphoria? It's absurd. But that's not the only issue. The game's character design is so off the mark that even seasoned YouTubers and streamers are shaking their heads. Asmongold, one of the most prominent gaming influencers, recently tore apart the game's visuals, and honestly, I can't blame him.
This guy looks so fucking ugly and retarded. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea to make a character that looks this way? This is the dumbest looking character in the entire game. Like, why would you do this?
The newly redesigned Kunari look like something out of a bad parody. They've taken what could have been a fearsome, powerful race and turned them into, well, let's just say it, they look ridiculous. During his critique of the game's preview, Asmongold went as far as to say, "This guy looks so **ing ugly and retarded. Who the FK thought this was a good idea to make a character that looks this way?" And if that wasn't enough, he added, "This is the dumbest looking character in the entire game." When one of the most popular gaming personalities outright laughs at your character designs, you know something has gone horribly wrong. Now, let's move on to gameplay, if you can even call it that. Asmongold pointed out that the physics are downright laughable. There's a point in the preview where a character kicks down a piece of wood to create a bridge, and it's just absurd. The way the plank falls is completely unrealistic. Asmongold's reaction, that's not how it would work. It's just bad. He even noted how the physics in Raid: Shadow Legends, a mobile game, seemed better than what Bioware is offering in the Veilguard.
Impressed me after the first few hours was how much exploration can still be done in the various regions. But what impressed me after the first few hours was how much exploration...
That's not how it would work. It's just bad. No weight to it at all? Well, it's not that there's no weight to it, it's that the acceleration is totally wrong. Poor physics for even a piece of wood. I feel like this is... I feel like Raid Shadow Legends has, like, better, like, graphical style than this game.
When a game that was once hailed as the next great RPG in the Dragon Age franchise is being compared unfavorably to a mobile game, you know you're in trouble. Asmongold wasn't done there though. He declared, "Maybe we should cancel video games. Maybe we shouldn't make video games anymore."
Maybe we should cancel video games. Maybe we shouldn't make video games anymore. We should just stop doing it.
That's how bad it is, folks. One of the biggest advocates for gaming is openly questioning whether we should just give up on the industry altogether. What's even more damning is that Dragon Age, the Veilguard's graphics, aren't up to par with what fans expect from a AAA title. Asmongold continued to criticize the game's appearance, comparing it to the graphical style of Raid: Shadow Legends, again reiterating that it looks like a mobile game.
I mean, this really just looks like a mobile game. Yeah, I mean, this is... oh my god.
And he's not wrong. The UI is clunky, the combat looks flat and uninspired, and everything about the game screams cheap. This is not the cutting-edge RPG we were promised. It's a mess. The sales disaster no one wants to talk about. Let's be real here. This isn't going unnoticed. YouTubers, gamers, and even some journalists are already roasting this game. The pre-orders are abysmal, and the trailers, downvoted to oblivion. Nobody asked for this, and the audience is speaking loud and clear with their wallets. Gamers want to escape from the constant bombardment of identity politics, not have it shoved down their throats even in their fantasy worlds. In fact, one retail source has already claimed that the pre-sales are piss poor. No one is connecting with this game, and it's because the Dragon Age brand has been so thoroughly gutted by its creators. It's no longer dark and gritty, it's soft, it's pandering, the cultural battle of fantasy. And that's what this is, isn't it? It's a culture war. The left wants to control every aspect of media, from movies to music to video games. But gaming has always been a space for players to escape, to immerse themselves in stories that aren't about the latest political agenda. Yet, here we are, with a game that's trying to push transgenderism in the guise of fantasy. All art is political, they say, and they're proving it with games like Dragon Age, the Veilguard. This isn't about letting people play the game they want. It's about forcing a very specific worldview on players, whether they like it or not. We've seen this before. It's the same reason that other woke games have failed. People don't want this. They want engaging stories, complex characters, and a world they can lose themselves in. But when you start turning your game into a lecture on gender politics, don't be surprised when the players tune out. So where does this leave us? Well, we're heading into a future where more and more games are following the same formula. But here's the thing. Gamers are starting to wake up. They're tired of this nonsense, and they're speaking with their wallets. The pre-sales for Dragon Age, the Veilguard are already looking bleak, and it's only going to get worse as more people find out what this game is really about. If Bioware and other developers don't change course, they're going to lose the core of what made gaming great in the first place. Entertainment. Not messaging, not indoctrination, just entertainment. And that's something worth fighting for. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Dragon Age, the Veilguard? Do you think the inclusion of features like top surgery scars is pushing things too far? Or do you think it's just another option for players? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, keep gaming and stay epic.
By this, it's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game and to see yourself represented in the game in this way is wonderful. So if you want your look to sport the top surgery scars, you absolutely can.
Being retarded. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea to make a character that looks this way? This is the dumbest looking character in the entire game. Like, why would you do this?